Welcome to Central News at Field Days 2013. I'm Hilary Entwistle. This year's theme is getting down to business in the global economy. But tonight we're not looking at the business side, we're looking at the entertainment side. Later on in the program, Amy will speed date some of the bachelors, we'll chop up some wood, we'll check out the ag artware section, or will we just get stuck here at the tractor pull? Vaughan, welcome to Central News. Now, what is tractor pulling?
Tractor pulling, it's a heap of fun. It's the first thing. It's boy racer rural style, I guess we'd call it. So just a bunch of guys having a whole heap of fun with big toys.
So what are the different categories that you guys have here?
Well, we've got weight classes running here at Field Days today, so depending on how heavy your tractor is, you'll be competing with tractors of the same weight, because physics tells us that weight equals traction. So we weigh the tractors, we then group them together, and we see who can do the best pulling.
It is definitely an event that pulls the crowds as well. So how popular is tractor pulling in New Zealand?
It's growing. It's certainly growing. We get around to about 5 or 6 events a year, and it's getting more and more, but Field Days here is probably our biggest event. We've got 85 competitors. Crowds, well, I would never count them, but probably 600, 700, 800 when the modifieds are running. The noise drags them all in, so people love to watch it. It rates really highly at the Field Days here. Other shows we have around the country, just tractor pull events, can pull 400 or 500 people through the gate. So it's growing more and more.
Now, you mentioned the modified events. We just watched it. Amazing to watch. So explain what the modified event is.
That's serious boy racer stuff. So guys just want to get the best out of their tractor. They want to make it go the loudest, the fastest. So we don't really measure speed, but it's always important to know who can go the fastest. So they'll modify engines to get the best out of them using the turbos, using injector pumps, tinkering on the insides, doing all sorts of things. So that is real boy racer material for the rural sector. I
was personally thinking it kind of puts boy racers with Skylines to shame, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, we could run them over a couple of times without even feeling the bumps, really. So it's all good.
Now, the weight class, how is that judged?
So the modifieds are just weighed to every 500 kilos. The sled calibration is adjusted, so they sort of a little bit different. They compete across a sort of wider range because there's not too many of them at this stage, so it's mostly putting on a bit of a show with the wheelies and smoke and that sort of thing. So as the competition grows, usually one day here we'll have a pretty serious competition, but most of it at the moment you've seen is just a bit of fun.
Is there much safety involved? I mean, it's...
Absolutely. Safety's first, fun second. Certainly you want to make sure that everything is safe. These are big machines, they hurt people really badly. So you'll see some of the times the guys will put their hands up when they've backed onto the sled, so that's an indication that it's out of gear. We have an operator will hop in between the machines and hook them up, step out again, so we don't want people trying to stand on the clutch and all of a sudden something goes wrong. And so safety absolutely first. Most of the machines, or all of the machines, have got fire extinguishers on. So if they're running volatile fuel, so methanol or petrol, they have fire suits. The diesel machines don't need fire suits. They all wear helmets, etc. So safety is a big factor.
Because you are commentating the event, and I was listening to you before, and you seem to know an awful lot about tractor pulling. Do you have to kind of study up before an event?
I've sort of been involved right from the word go with tractor pulling. So after you've seen the same machines at 3 or 4 events, you get to know that they've got an 8.3 litre engine or a this and a that, what sort of transmissions. So you get to know, and they're all guys that we like to have a bit of fun with. So have a few beers and talk about the machines, and so real boy racers know what everyone else has got. So yeah.
Now, tractor pulling or commentating? What do you prefer?
Oh, I'm not allowed a tractor, so I have to stick with commentating, I suppose. The wife won't let me. So, no, look, I made the decision a while ago that if I had a tractor, I couldn't really run the competitions unbiasedly. So if I don't have a tractor, I've got no vested interest. So, I travel around the country just organising, running the tractor pulls. So we cover everything right down to Gore. We get down to the bottom of the world every couple of years. So, and quite a few places in between.
How big is Field Days as an event?
This is the biggest event, so we've got 85 competitors here. Some of the smaller events might only have 15 to 20, so by far this is the biggest event, but it is the middle of winter. What else do you do? Nobody's got much else on. We're whereas other field days, say down in Palmerston North, is in March, so they're still baling and combining, things like that. So they're busy. The machines are expensive. They can't afford to take too many days off work, so they've got to earn money first. So yeah, by far field days here is the biggest event.
You mentioned money. How much do people spend on these things?
Well, that's a closely guarded secret. It ranges. Some of the machines you might have seen, the green John Deere, probably maybe $3,000 including the tractor, whereas some of the other ones, there might be a 20 and some thousands there. So, and then if you get into the likes of the states where they have huge machines, they can be looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars. So overseas, it's big. New Zealand, we're growing.
And are the competitors there working on their tractors themselves at home?
Most of the time, yeah. And most of the skills in tractor pulling in general, whether it be modified or standard, are just skills that they should know. A good operator, the skills they use in the paddock should be the same as they use on the tractor pull track, getting the best out of their tractor. So that's what we're trying to do.
That's what we were wondering before, how much is the tractor and how much is the driver?
Good question. A little bit of there's probably three components. We've got the tractor, the driver, and lady luck. There's always a bit of lady luck involved. If it's not your day, it's not your day. But setting the tractor up, tyre pressures, throttle control, engine management, weight. So a lot of setup before the event. So that's the driver as well, I suppose. But then on the day, the driver has a lot to do with it. If the nut behind the wheel is a bit loose, then it's not going to go too well. So it's all a lot of driver.
Well, it does sound like a very exciting event with all the background information, and I've been watching, and it's definitely one of the things to check out here at Field Days. Thank you very much, Vaughan.
You're welcome.
And coming up next, Amy speed dates some of the bachelors. Welcome back to Central News. Now, if you've just joined us, we are on location at the Field Days, and beside me I've got a few strapping young men who are vying for the position of the Rural Bachelor of the Year 2013. So let's get to meet them all. So tell me, what is your name?
G'day, my name's Simon Washer from Taranaki.
From Taranaki. So tell me, why did you decide to enter this competition?
Well, it's sort of, I've got a young farmers club down in Taranaki there, and we got an email to say the event's running again, so I sent the email out to everyone and set it a meeting. I'm sure we've got some eligible bachelors in our team, and I got nothing but the finger pointed at me, so here we are today, and I suppose out there looking for the one lady, I guess.
Wonderful. Well, all the best for the competition.
Beauty.
And what would your name be?
I'm Glenn Hammond from Geraldine, and I'm a sheep farmer down there.
Awesome. So tell me, what challenges have you been put through so far?
We've had a fencing module, and I'd say that the toughest one's probably all the media. That's something out of the comfort zone.
Oh, you're doing very well.
Thank you.
And what is your name?
Hi, my name's Monty Bamford. I'm an agronomist from Christchurch.
Okay. So what does an agronomist do?
So someone who helps farmers with the growing of their crops and pastures.
Wonderful. Okay, so tell me, what have you enjoyed most about the competition?
Probably the thing I enjoyed most was the cheese making yesterday afternoon. Something a little bit out of left field, but really enjoyed that, and it tasted all right too. So.
A bit of a skill that might impress the ladies.
Yes, I think, yeah.
Now, this is one of our Aussie blokes, so what's your name?
Dan Korf, and I'm from Bendigo in central Victoria.
Okay, so being one of the Aussies, do you think you're at an advantage or disadvantage?
I'm not too sure. Depends on what the Kiwi girls think, I guess.
Okay. Well, all the best with the competition. So we're going to head over through to meet the other 4 men from the competition in one of their camper vans. Now, the boys have advised me that it's a little bit messy in the camper van, so we're going to do the interviews out here. So, Sam, come on out. Now, whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Victoria, Australia.
Another Aussie. Okay,
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you think the difference is between the Aussie and the Kiwi girls?
That's a pretty good question. In my experience, I'd say the Kiwi girls are a little more easygoing and relaxed, pretty more genuine, so yeah.
That's pretty good. A charmer.
Not so uptight, so yeah.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and I hope wish you all the best with the competition.
Thanks very much.
All right, so next eligible bachelor, who have we got?
Tom.
All right. So, what was your name?
My name's Tom.
And whereabouts are you from?
Here, Cambridge, pretty much. So 5 minutes away.
Okay,
nice
so we've got a Waikato lad.
Mm-hmm.
So, who do you think are the dark horses in the competition?
Oh, the dark horses. I think possibly the South boys, Glenn. You know, just a bit quieter than the Aussies, a bit quieter than the North Island boys, but good head on their shoulders.
Wow.
You know, could get amongst it, but yeah.
All right,
probably
so
the dark
we've
horse.
got to watch out for those ones. Well, thank you very much, and all the best with the competition.
Yeah, definitely. Cheers.
And who have we got here?
Fergus King.
And whereabouts are you from?
From Matamata.
From another Waikato
from
man.
Matamata, yeah.
Okay. So what have you enjoyed most about the competition so far?
Oh, it's just been a hell of a good time to meet all the guys and do new experiences, and the amazing race was real fun, and we managed to win that, so that was pretty good.
Yeah. Have you learnt any new skills?
We made some halloumi yesterday, which is, that was interesting. Never done that one before.
Yeah. Oh, very awesome. So I hope you're enjoying the competition.
Yeah, it's a great buzz.
And all the best.
Thanks for that.
Cheers.
See you,
all
Amy.
right. Who have we got up next?
How you going, Amy?
Hi, how are you? What's your name?
Andrew Blake.
And whereabouts are you from?
New South Wales, Australia.
Another Aussie boy. Okay, so that's the third Aussie boy. So how have you been enjoying it over here in New Zealand?
Loving it, absolutely loving it.
Yeah, and
put it on, especially today. It's
yeah,
beautiful again today,
pretty good for a New Zealand winter, huh?
Yeah, very good word.
Yeah. Now, tell me, what do you look for in a girl?
Ooh, qualities. Nice smile. Personality's got to shine through, so that's the best thing. She's got to like country life and can cook.
Okay, so what do you do over in Aussie?
Horticulture, so I run a horticulture property over there.
Wonderful. So your skills, you've been using some of those skills in the competition?
Surprisingly, at the moment, taking it out at the moment actually, so that's all right. But we'll see how it goes today. It's going to be more fun today. Can't wait.
Yeah, awesome. Well, all the best.
Right.
Well, there you have it, ladies. The 2013 Rural Bachelors of the Year. Join us after the break for Ag Artwear. Number 8 wire, horseshoes and raw food materials are not normally a feature on anyone's outfits, but here at the Ag Artwear at the Field Days, it's all about getting a bit creative and using some unique fresh ideas to create the ultimate piece. So we are going to catch up with a local designer, Jo, to talk us through her piece. Hi Jo, now tell me, what is Ag Artwear all about?
It's about creating pieces of wearable art. It's in a fashion show kind of thing. It's very creative and a great way to get into fashion.
So how many designers have entered this year?
Around about 26 designers this year.
And what are the conditions or rules for each category?
With Ag Art, it has to be everything from a farm, just farm products or anything you can find on a farm. And for the designer category, it has to look more clothing-like, whereas the avant-garde category, you can go a bit crazy and do something more arty.
Can you tell us about the materials you used and why you decided to use those materials?
I used dehydrated meat for the avant-garde category. There was nothing more obvious to me coming from a beef farm. Why do you farm? You farm for the meat. And my other design was bark from trees. Not sure where that idea came from, but it worked well.
So have you had any previous experience working with those materials before?
No, not really. It just happened.
So talk us through the process of the inspiration behind the design and right through to how long it all took.
For the meat one, I was inspired by meat prices and how it costs so much to buy your meat at the supermarket, and I had to experiment a little bit with drying the meat and getting the right process to make sure it would last a few weeks. And it took me about 4 weeks to complete that one, working on it every day. And then I just varnished all the meat and hopefully it's all good. For the bark one, I'm not sure where that idea came from, but I just stripped back the bark into quite thin pieces and then put it onto a lining.
So you mentioned that you've grown up sort of in a farming background. So where did your background in design stem from?
Mainly from school. I did wearable art as a subject at school, and my wearable art teacher was very helpful and helped me get into it, and did my first competition and got first prize, so I was hooked ever since then.
And you're studying now?
I'm doing a little course in sewing at the moment, so seeing what skills I can pick up.
And can you tell us about the prize with this competition?
It's $2,500 a category, and I think it's 1,000 for second and 500 for third.
So what sort of benefits might the designers who entered this competition gain from this?
A lot of exposure. I think it definitely helps to get into fashion if you're going to study and that kind of thing. Just exposure.
And what have you personally enjoyed most about the competition?
I love the competition. I'm very competitive. And coming from a farm, it's easy for me, I suppose, to come up with ideas and that.
Any challenges along the way?
With the meat one, because I used PVA over the top of it, and I stuffed it up and I put the wrong PVA on and it didn't come out right, so I had to pull it all off and do it again. So that's not great when that happens, but it teaches you a lesson.
Frequently poached down possum fur and a possum leather skirt. There's also a handbag and fish.
Coming up after the break, Hilary checks out the Festival of Logging.
Welcome back to Central News at Field Days 2013. Now, wood carving is a very specialised skill, but what about when you have to use a chainsaw? I'm going to go dodge the chips of wood and check out the Still Festival of Logging. Welcome to the program, both of you. So Phil, obviously a lot of skill is needed to create something so intricate with a chainsaw. What are some of those skills?
Well, of course, one of the key things is to make sure you make your cuts accurately, that you have the machine in tip-top condition. It's well serviced, it's sharp, and then just perhaps even consider taking some outside training. I know the Kiwi thing is just to get in there and do it, but it doesn't hurt to sometimes get a little bit of help as well on the way.
What have been some of the more popular sculptures here?
Out of the carvings we've seen hummingbirds, we've seen tractors, we've seen trucks, all sorts of things, different methods. And there's a little bit of the art of the sculptor, because they start with a block, and if you take a bit off, you can't put it back later. So there's a real skill in being able to look into the block, see the shape you're going to make and do it. This year's a little bit special because we have a relationship with Toyota, and so there are commission carvings this year. So rather than the freehand we've done in the past, they will be carving a Toyota Hilux and also a Toyota logo. So it's a very, very good challenge for these carvers today.
How are the pieces judged?
The pieces are judged by the best use of the block, how well it's finished, and also looking for that X factor, to coin a phrase for Toyota, that makes someone go to the auction and want to buy it more than anything else. And sometimes that's not necessarily the way the judges call it, it's the way the public calls it, and that's a really good guide as to how well carving is finished and done.
Is speed a factor?
Not necessarily, however, we do have to obviously draw limits. And so what we do here is we have 2 carvings to produce, and those 2 carvings need to be produced within the 2-day period, and certainly before we get to the auction, of course. But we see usually they'll do 1 per day, although we've got one out here, which is Warwick Lily, who's often done 1 carving which is encroached into the 2nd day and finished his other one out a lot quicker.
And there is a lucky charity that's going to benefit this year.
Oh, absolutely. We do a lot of work with St John's, and St John's Ambulance is known to everyone in this country. We work with them in Chainsaw Safety Awareness Week in May, and we're very pleased to come here with the works that are being carved by these guys and putting them up for auction with our help from our good friends at Wrightson's, and we'll try and get as much money for those as we can, and that all goes, the whole lot goes to St John Ambulance.
What other events does Still have here at Field Days 2013?
Well, we seem to get involved in just about everything. There's the carving that you've seen now with the Waikato Draft Chainsaw Carving Challenge. We have, of course, our top line, the Still Timber Sports world champion team here on all days. We're involved in the fencing competitions here as co-sponsors, and on Saturday we really have some fun as the logging crews come in and race and relays for the Alf Broxma Memorial Trophy. So it's just a really big card we have in this arena of ours, and there's always something happening. And of course we all come to these shows to display our new technology and products and have a good deal for people, and they can certainly do that here in the Still Marquee.
Well, thank you very much, Phil. Now, Jason, you are the current world champion. Tell us how your Field Days has gone so far.
Well, Field Days has been going pretty well. It's a great chance for the NZ Timber Sports team to get together and go through our paces, and we're preparing for a big event in Stuttgart, the World Championships. We won in Norway last year, and we're looking to defend our title again in Stuttgart in Germany. So we're all working really hard, and we're having kind of a mini competition in the arena here, and it's going pretty well. Everyone's sort of putting each other through their paces, so it's a good thing.
What are the events that you guys have been doing just before?
We do the 4 disciplines in the Still Timber Sports series. So we have the standing block chop, we have the underhand chop, we have the still stock saw, and we have the hot saw event. So all those events will be at the World Championships. So we're kind of individually competing against each other, and then on Saturday we're going to do full relay runs so that we get our sequence and changeover right for Germany.
And can you run us through some of those disciplines?
Yes, the standing chop is probably one of the more recognisable events. It's where we chop a scarf on one side of the log. It's mounted in a steel frame. We chop one side out, run around to the back side, chop another scarf out and try and sever the log in the least amount of time. The underhand chop is one that's mounted horizontally in a steel cradle. We cut footholes out so we can stand on top of it, and basically we do the same thing. We cut a scarf on one side, turn to the back side and cut another scarf and try and sever it in the least amount of time again. The single buck sawing, I don't know if I've mentioned that, sorry. Single buck sawing is another event where we use a crosscut saw and take one cookie off the big horizontally mounted sawing log. And then with the hot saw event, it's basically open modified chainsaw event like a drag racing chainsaw, if you will. We take 3 cuts out of the sawing log with that machine.
And that's the hot saw, is it?
That's called the hot saw, and we get a warm up, and then it's a cold start. So we shut the machine off, start it, and make a down cut, an up cut, and a down cut in the quickest time.
Well, thank you very much to the both of you, and enjoy the rest of the field days, and good luck with the World Championships. Our show here at Field Days 2013. As you can see in the background, it's starting to get dark, so we better get going. We will have 3 more interviews for you on Monday's episode. Hey, what was your favourite thing, Amy?
I'd have to say that catching up with the Bachelors, that was a good laugh, and also the Ag Artwear. There's some really talented designers, so that was a lot of fun seeing the fashion show. And how about you, Hilary?
Well, I actually got to meet a world champion, so that was great. Then I got to sit on one of those modified tractors. That was a big highlight. And I'll tell you a little secret, Amy. It's my first field days.
Okay, so will you be returning then next year?
I thoroughly enjoyed it, so of course I will be. And if you enjoyed our episodes, you can watch them again on our website, tvcentral.co.nz, or check out our Facebook page. And we will be back next week with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle.
And I'm Amy Forrest.
Have a lovely evening and a great weekend.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.